Coming up on Cronkite Sports Live, we dive deep into Sun Devil football.
And ASU Volleyball still undefeated. Today they go for their best start since Springsteen Madonna in 1985.
Plus, we'll take a look at an ASU Soccer midfielder who has the Sun Devils rolling early in the season. It is showtime.
That was difficult.
Yes, indeed, Todd, that was tough. He's Jake Garcia, I'm Kerry Crowley, and Jake, today we go from being linked in to linked up.
Indeed we do, and so do ASU and New Mexico for the second time in as many seasons. Todd Graham thought Cal Poly's triple option attack was tough. Wait till he sees what's in store for this week.
An SEC foe in week 1, a Big Sky opponent in week 2, as the great band Diamond Rio sang, "Meet me in the middle." And that's exactly what Arizona State will do this week, as it takes on New Mexico out of the middle tier Mountain West Conference. And here to break down that contest is WCSN football analyst Elaine Wilson. Elaine, ASU without running back Kalen Balaj, so their depth a little troublesome. And then Gump Hayes goes down against Cal Poly last week, forcing DJ Foster to move back into the backfield. So many different issues right now for this ASU offense. Why has it not been able to sustain rhythm early in the season?
Well, I think coming into the season, everybody just assumed that ASU offense was going to be explosive behind Mike Berkovice and DJ Foster, and that just hasn't happened yet. They need to establish a rhythm with those new receivers like Lucian and Tim White to be able to really establish a rhythm on this offense and be as explosive as they were expected to be.
Now, switching things over to the defensive side of the football, second straight week, the Sun Devils will go against the triple option. Cal Poly, a midline veer team, New Mexico, a zone blocking scheme. What is the big difference in these two rushing approaches?
Well, actually, they average about the same rushing yards per game, about 280 per game, but the real difference is the yards per carry. You can see that Cal Poly is getting about 4 yards per carry, and New Mexico is getting about 6. What does that mean if they're getting the same amount of yards? It means that New Mexico is not converting as much on downs. That means ASU defense really needs to zone in on those third and fourth downs and those red zone opportunities to score to be able to hold off New Mexico. And if they can do that, they can pull out a win.
Thank you, Elaine. As always, a wealth of information. Now we're just under 3 hours from kickoff at Sun Devil Stadium. Be sure to stay tuned, as Elaine isn't the only analyst we'll have on this show. Later on, Jake Garcia and I will be back to break down this evening's showdown.
Sun Devil Volleyball has issued a parking advisory to fans wishing to watch today's volleyball matches. The message is simple: park somewhere aside from in front of Wells Fargo if you wish to not get trampled by the hordes of football fans getting ready for the aforementioned football game. My question, though, is why? Unlike ASU football, ASU volleyball hasn't disappointed this season. Thanks to the killing prowess of Macy Gardner and the setting duo of senior Bianca Arellano and freshman Kylie Pickrell, the Sun Devils enter this weekend ranked 10th in the nation and winners of their first 8 games. Game number 9 today took place at Wells Fargo, ASU against UNLV. And as they have so many times this season, the Sun Devil volleyball team absolutely lethal. See spikes right there. They would go on to sweep UNLV 3-0, 7th time this season that they've swept a team in 3 sets. Part of a 9-game homestand in the Red Line Invitational. They're now 9-0, best start since 1985. For those wondering at home, their best start ever was 21-0. ASU volleyball continuing to dominate in all facets of the game. And now, Kerry, time for Tweets of the Week. I think this is the most excited I've ever been for this segment. I was the Grinch of it formerly in my former years because pop culture savviness really isn't my thing. However, talking social media analytics and Instagram ratios with you is always riveting conversation. So now Dominic Cotroneo joins us. Dom, please don't burst my hype bubble.
Dude, it is a huge bubble and a lot of pressure to take care of right now. I think I don't want to disappoint anybody in this segment as I did last week, but who knows? That's up for you to decide. Let's go to our social media MVP that we always like to go to start things off. That is Tracy Smith, head baseball coach at ASU Skip. If at ASU Volleyball, that's the wrong handle, by the way, were asked to eat the letter after N and report what they did, how would they respond? They would say, "We 8-0. However, now they're 9-0, but you got to like the wordplay there, guys. He is the top coach on Twitter in college athletics, right?
8-0, that joke went right over our heads. To borrow an Arizona State alumnus of the baseball program, Dustin Pedroia's phrase, ASU Education, bro, and that's where Jake and I are at.
Yeah, I just want to underscore how truly smart Tracy Smith is. Not only did he use a play on words, he used the correct form of the subjunctive were. Instead of saying if ASU Volleyball was, he said word. That's just incredible use of language right there. Tracy Smith, you're amazing.
Clearly not the Arizona State education that we've got.
Miami of Ohio education. Now we move on to our second tweet. This one to the hardwood. Savon Goodman. Who has Netflix? Such a simple question, but when you think about it, maybe this is why the Pac-12 wants to think about paying their players or letting them use their likeness to be paid. He needs a Netflix account. This is a key part of being in college. Why doesn't this man have a Netflix account?
I couldn't tell you that. The one thing that ASU basketball does have, though, are those weird scooter-type thingies. So maybe if they invested their money in other areas, say, for example, Netflix, they'd be better off.
Jake, before the show, we were talking about the true meaning of Netflix and chill, and all I know is that Savon Goodman is not going to be Netflix and chilling with us anytime soon.
I was just going to leave that completely out of the show.
Well, you think about those little moonwalking things, we're getting closer and closer to the reality of Wally with every single day. But now we go to our final tweet. Well, not a tweet at all again. This time we go to your favorite social media, if you will. That is LinkedIn, guys.
Let's go.
Michael Bercovici on LinkedIn. There's his basic profile. Guess his top 3 skills that he's endorsed in.
I gotta say, teamwork is one of them.
Okay.
Leadership, number 2. Jake, you want to give any guesses for number 3?
I would say up-tempo offense, but no one's endorsing him for that anymore, considering the start they've had to the season. Mike Bercovici, if you prove and start to right the ship tonight against New Mexico, I will consider endorsing you, but also get those connections up, only 322.
Dom, please tell us, what is that third skill?
Teamwork, team leadership, and Microsoft Office.
Ah, so he's used a computer before.
He has, and he's using his skills in the real world after football in his 5th-year senior as a major here at ASU. But that's going to do it for me in the land of social media. Guys, take it away.
Dom, thank you so much. Now, if you follow ASU athletics closely, the names Callie Farquharson and Allie Moon are a pair you recognize. Prolific goal scorers, the Sun Devil Stars have the ASU soccer team out to a 4-1 start. But for the pair to truly shine, it's taken help and support from an understated midfielder. WCSN soccer analyst Mauricio Casillas has more.
The Sun Devil soccer team has outscored opponents 16-1 in its 5 games this season. ASU is off to its strongest start in school history, in large part due to the play of midfielder Lucy Lara. She has a team-high 4 assists and is playing the best soccer of her career.
She's got really good vision. She's got the ability with her feet to get out tight spaces, and then with her vision to find people all the way out. So whether it's on the right or the left or dropping it off, she can hit all parts of the field.
Glancing around me at all times, like just looking over my shoulder to see where everyone is, has really helped me be better, and like it's helping me look ahead.
Laura has been playing soccer since she was 3 years old, and while she's had some great moments here on the field, she's also been at her worst. She's had to overcome 3 separate knee injuries since her junior year in high school.
The ACL is just such a horrible injury. I just worked so hard, and mentally I just had help from my teammates and my coaching staff that this was going to be my last one. And I think that really pushed me to work harder at rehab.
Last season, Laura was able to stay healthy, and now this year, she's really settling into her starting role.
It's honestly amazing now being healthy again and playing again, and I think it's been a rough trip, but I think my teammates being patient with me, my coaches being patient with me, has really helped me become the player I am today.
The Sun Devils travel to take on Oklahoma State in Oklahoma this weekend in their last non-conference games before beginning Pac-12 play against Washington State. In Tempe, for Cronkite Sports Live, I'm Mauricio Casillas.
Thanks, Mauricio. Well, Kerry, we harkened back to a year ago when we took to the whiteboard to dissect a triple option offense. That's exactly what we'll do again this year. ASU taking on New Mexico tonight, which means it's the 2nd game in a row in which they've had to attack a triple option offense. Last week against Cal Poly, some struggles on the defensive front, and now I ask you, in the basic formation set, what's the difference between these 2 triple option attacks?
The biggest difference in the 2 triple option attacks, Cal Poly runs the veer or midline veer offense, which means the offensive tackles are set up further outside, which spreads out the defense. So you've got about 2 feet in between each of the offensive linemen, and that allows for cut blocking schemes. New Mexico uses what I call foot-long splits, subway splits. So you've got a foot in between each offensive player here at the line of scrimmage, and what that allows for is a zone blocking scheme. So you've got the center and the guard creating a combo block to try to get to the second level of the defense. And that's critical because when you're able to get to the second level, you're able to spark perimeter running plays, you're able to turn those 3 to 4 yard gains into 8, 9, and 10 yard gains.
Against Cal Poly a week ago, this front defensive line for ASU really banged up. A few guys even had to be removed from the games, and their status for tonight is questionable at best. And so now I ask you, with New Mexico coming to town this week in their zone blocking scheme, who are they looking to exploit on the ASU defense?
Last week, Cal Poly was looking to exploit the tackle. That was Viliami Latu, and he was injured. He routinely got double cut at the line of scrimmage. This week, New Mexico is looking to exploit the spur linebacker and the end, and here's how the triple option will work. First, you've got the dive back going up the middle. That's the first read. But what New Mexico really wants to do is get to the outside and option the end. So you've got the quarterback keeping the ball, coming out. You've got a reach block here. So the end has to try and keep contained. Sometimes that's difficult to do. The critical block for New Mexico's scheme is coming from the inside wide receiver on the spur linebacker. If the spur linebacker can get up to the line of scrimmage and stop the pitch play before it gets started, that allows the alley players, Salamo Fiso, the Sam linebacker, and Kareem Orr or Jordan Simone, the safeties, to come up and make the play at the line of scrimmage and allow that option to stop before it even gets going.
Nowhere was the success of Cal Poly a week ago more evident than a 6-play, 60-plus yard drive in which they handed it to the dive back on every single occasion. But this week, erase that from your memory. You think this is a better matchup for the Sun Devils. One, because this offense operates out of the shotgun, and two, that leans itself towards runs more on the outside.
Runs more on the outside, and that's because of the zone blocking scheme. The midline veer is so tough to prepare for. That's something you see only once every 3 or 4 years, depending on your opponents. The zone blocking scheme, that's so common. USC, Utah, some of the Pac-12's best running teams run this style of offense. So when you're able to prepare for that offense a lot throughout the season, you're able to stop it a lot better when you play it in a week like this.
That's Kerry Crowley. He's the brains of the ASU football defense operation. We'll now send it out to Nick Wixman with Street and Greet for a little more of the brawn.
I'm Nick Wixman, your favorite 45, 21-year-old here on Tempe's Mill Avenue. We're going to go ask some patrons about tomorrow's game against New Mexico. I believe he's going to do it! Woo!
I think that just builds team chemistry. Everyone's vibing in the weight room. Everyone's vibing in the practice facility. You got music, you got vibes.
Have you heard DJ Calhoun's stuff?
Yeah, of course.
Is it good?
Yes, it's
What's
great.
Your favorite song? Or favorite?
I don't know my favorite song. SoundCloud it. Everyone should SoundCloud it.
Right.
It's great
Yeah.
beats. Great.
Well, I guess music is a source of a stress reliever, but at the same time, I don't think that's what you would want to use to train your players.
Who wins the 40-yard dash? Demetrius Cherry or Salamo Fiso?
Demetrius for sure.
All right, we got a unanimous Demetrius here.
Dimitri.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. He just got quick feet. He has to have it. He has to have it.
Fiso doesn't have that.
He's a big hitter, but he's not fast man. Not faster.
Nick Wixman, you don't get much like that. Nothing like some rowdy Sun Devil fans, and nothing like a fall weekend in the Valley. The ASU New Mexico game isn't the only item on the docket this weekend, so we'll send things over to Drew Andre, who's holding court, ready to deliver your weekend forecast.
Well, thank you, Kerry. Soccer takes on Oklahoma State at the top of the hour. Next, after the show, head on over to Sun Devil Stadium as football will face New Mexico at 7 p.m., and hopefully you can leave by 8. Moving on to Saturday, it's the second round of the Olympia Fields Invitational for men's golf, a tradition like many other. Then women's volleyball against Texas Southern at noon and Illinois at 7 p.m. That's all at Wells Fargo Arena. Now to Sunday. More golf begins at 7 a.m., and then we'll head south as ASU Soccer takes on Oklahoma at 10 a.m. Well, that's your weekend forecast. I'm Drew Andre.
Thanks, Drew. Excellently done. Now it's time for the way it is. We've done it so many times, I'm not even going to explain or preface this with any instructions for our viewer. You know the drill by now, Kerry. I'll start firing away questions at you. First one pertains to ASU football. Which offense do they have more success against? Cal Poly's a week ago, or the triple option attack of New Mexico this week?
We just learned on the whiteboard it is going to be the triple option of the Lobos. That midline veer is so difficult to prepare for. I think that the triple option of the zone blocking scheme is much better suited for this ASU defense. Jake, we flip things over to Wells Fargo Arena in the volleyball court. How long until ASU Volleyball suffers its first loss of the season?
First loss comes this weekend against number 6 Illinois, but more importantly, in just like last season, they'll prove very beatable in Pac-12 play because conference volleyball in the Pac-12 lethally good. Now to ASU Soccer. They beat a ranked team this week, but the polls didn't really showcase that. Do you think they got disrespected?
Well, the polls did show that they beat a ranked team. They moved up 4 spots, but they beat Pepperdine by a final score of 5-0. They deserve to skyrocket in the polls for that. Instead, the voters see a loss to Texas Tech. 1-0. ASU Soccer has been so dominant all season long on the offensive side and on the defensive side, so I think, yes, they did get a raw deal. Jake, back to the football field. Are the injuries ASU football has recently sustained the reason its offense has struggled, or is it just fluffy rhetoric used to describe deeper flaws?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. Having so many moving parts is always tough to cope with, but at the same time, Mike Bercovici, Demario Richard, and DJ Foster are all still afloat, so why is this offense having so many problems? Now to other star players, this time volleyball and soccer. Macy Gardner and Callie Farquharson both are on the verge of setting school records. When it's all said and done, who has the better legacy in their Sun Devil career?
Callie Farquharson has been so dynamic for this ASU soccer team. Remember, Kevin Boyd, ASU soccer coach, a master recruiter, he was able to nab Alex Morgan when he coached at Cal. Callie Farquharson has kind of been the Morgan of this program. She's been the excellent player this ASU soccer program needed, but I say it's Macy Gardner, hinging on this season's results. If Gardner is able to propel the Sun Devils to a top 2 finish in the Pac-12, that's a top 10 finish nationally, and that's something that I think will cement her legacy forever. I know I'm running out of time, and so are we, so I'll ask you the final question. The more dynamic part of this show, incorporating LinkedIn or incorporating a whiteboard for our triple option segment?
Well, I think the whiteboard is much more user-friendly, but recall we did the same thing a year ago. I'm going with LinkedIn. It's fresh, it's innovative, it's unique. Dominic Catronio went to the archives, dug that one out. Hopefully our producers have connected with me and rule me the winner of the way it is.
Let's find out. Who is it? The producers ringing in our ears right now. That's it. Let's go, baby. If you haven't heard by now, it's my turn for the way it is. And if you haven't heard by now, or at least heard the complaints, tonight's ASU New Mexico game is a whiteout. Fans are being encouraged to wear white shirts, but as always, there are the naysayers. The folks who believe only in maroon and gold, believe they can wear what they want, and believe they deserve a national title. Here's a picture of Neyland Stadium in Tennessee, a school that hasn't won more than 7 games since 2007 and is willing to do whatever it takes to return to relevance. Keep that image in your mind, because when 50% of the fans at tonight's game don't show up in white, you'll know which team is closer to winning a national title. Is it the school with entitled fans who walk out at halftime wearing gold to a whiteout, or the devoted fans who stayed till the end of games even Lane Kiffin coached? If I'm a recruit, I know where I'm going to try and earn my national championship, and that's the way it is.
Mic drop, Kerry, Crowley. It's funny because
I don't know about that.
I was going to talk about ASU football and also be critical of ASU football, but it turns out the producers just completely overlooked mine and picked yours instead, so congrats.
Thank you very much, Jake. And before we sign off, we've got one final part of this show. It's important. The finest, the greatest, the best, in that order. Top plays, let them roll. We kick things off. Number 3 in Houston, Salamo Fiso, ASU linebacker, cutting down the Aggies on 4th and 1. Big stop there for the Sun Devils. Unfortunately, they could not keep their momentum.
For play number 2, Vamos al Otro football. It's Callie Farquharson putting the moves on UNLV defenders for career goal number 37. That put her in sole possession of 2nd place in ASU history. You know, Kerry, doctors say it takes 6 to 8 weeks to recover from a broken ankle.
Ooh. Little shade being thrown right there. Top play, number 1, Mike Bercovici, pump fake. Looks like Klay Thompson right there as he just drives, dashes, and lays it into the end zone. Bercovici, a career-high 19-yard touchdown run. What a play. What theatrics we've seen from Bercovici so far this season. Will they continue tonight?
I can't predict any more than you can. I can say, though, that him running the ball probably isn't sustainable, so we'll see if he can air it out a little bit more against New Mexico.
Jake, before we sign off, any parting thoughts?
Yeah, we'll both be covering that football game tonight, but if it doesn't suit your fancy, a top 10 volleyball team is currently playing at Wells Fargo Arena, and that tournament carries into this weekend.
Well, that does it for our entire Cronkite Sports Live crew. He's Jake Garcia. I'm Kerry Crowley, signing off from our downtown Phoenix studios. Anchors out.